Yo, what's happening, people? It's Kanza here. I just want to say thank you to all you guys once again for all the support. I know I haven't been making any Tekken videos as of late, mainly because I'm back at work and my time's a bit more split in different avenues. So I've got to try and make time for everything so it kind of just goes well, if that makes sense. And obviously things have more priorities than the other. But I do really appreciate all of you guys supporting me so far. We smashed the subscriber goal. We've got, I believe now, over 1,000 subscribers. So each and every one of you, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I'm going to be making content not just for Tekken, but also for Dragon Ball FighterZ as well. I know a lot of you have been asking where that content has gone, because I haven't done it in a while. But I've mainly just been waiting for Super Baby to come out on Dragon Ball, and Tyrant and Damascus did a showcase with Apology Man, which was really cool. So I can't wait for that. So I'm going to be making content on that as well as Street Fighter, etc. But yeah, for this for today's Tekken guide for Lars, which is going to be I believe part 3. This is literally going to be the bread and butter of what defines a really good Lars player and someone that's just kind of starting out. And I know this is going to sound really basic to some people, and you're going to be like, what, or whatever, and click off the video. But literally, and even I had this problem today, where in this game specifically, because there's such a wide range of moves across the board in terms of cast, there's, I'd say roughly almost every character in the game has about 100 moves. So to generally be good at the game, you have to constantly play it. You have to constantly, literally with Tekken 7, and I know it can be said about a lot of other fighting games, but I think especially with this game, knowledge is like power. The more knowledge you have about the game, is the better you will perform to an extent. And the reason why is that, especially when you're playing Lars, for me, what I found is Lars has really good punishment, and that's one of his best. Like, if someone said to me, pick the 5 best things that your character can do, one of them would definitely be, well, the top 2 at least would be punishment. Lars has some of the best punishment in the game, ranging from, you know, launchers to just general 2-hit wall splats, etc. So literally what I would suggest for all of you guys is to whenever you have time, and just make a schedule, which is what I've started to do. Is I'd have one day where I would sit down and I would say, okay, today I'm labbing Anna, and then the following day when I have time, today I'm labbing Lee. And what I would do is I'd go into practice mode and look at what moves can be punishable, what moves aren't, and you can do that luckily through the season 3. So there's this thing here called punishment training, and I know some people may already know this and may be like, yeah, but how is this going to help me improve? Punishment training is very important, because what you will notice is that, especially starting from the lower ranks, not that ranks are greatly important, but starting from the lower ranks going all the way up, near the top end of the spectrum, what you will notice from a lot of top players, and this is something that people do regardless of skill level, if they know you're not going to stop them from doing something, why should they stop? That's what you kind of got to get into your head. So especially characters like Paul, who has a couple of moves where they will do it consistently, and there's not really much you can do about it unless you start to condition them to think that you're going to punish them for doing it. Do you know what I mean? So a prime example is Death Fist. Paul should not be doing Death Fist to Lars and getting away with it for free. The reason why is Lars has very good punishment for that specific move and many other moves in the game. And there's a lot of moves that Lars can punish, but other characters can't. So I'll show you that now. So for example, Death Fist, I know I've seen a lot of people, even when I started out and I tried to punish Death Fist, I didn't know what I was doing. I've seen people have asked me, you know, in the comments or messaged me on Steam, hey Kanza, can you watch a replay with me? I'm struggling how to do this, and I don't know where I went wrong. So here's an example. So if Paul does Death Fist like that, right? I've seen people try and do this. I know why. I know why they try and do something like this, but it's not optimal. This works against some characters. So, for example, Claudio, I believe when he does, there's a move he does where he hits you twice and he falls backwards, right? When he falls backwards, that move actually catches him, so that's good. But this is what I'm saying, punishment training across the board is very, very good, especially with Lars, because the more you know, the better you will perform in the grand scheme of things. So for example, with Paul's Death Fist, a lot of characters, especially at tip range, will have no answers for this button. They just have to firm it and have to take it and then play neutral again. And that's where Paul kind of gets scary. And the scary thing about it is that if you're not going to be punishing Death Fist, then you're constantly going to be worried about, well, not worried, but you're always going to be worried that he's just going to keep throwing it out and out and out. And if you get hit, because you're scared of Demo Man, which is his low, you're just going to eat loads of damage. So when you start punishing Death Fist consistently, and I know this isn't an anti-Paul video, but it's just, I'm using him for an example. When you start punishing Death Fist, they're going to try and mix up their options. They're going to try and go for Demo Mans more. They might try and do more mid-pokes to check you, etc., right? And this is just mainly from the low ranks going up to about mid-average. So here's an example. So if I'm at tip range and I get Death Fist, there's not much I can do, right, with jabs, etc., right? But Lars has really, really good punishment from long range. Back 3-4. Back 3-4 is a 2-hit natural combo. So once this lands, the other bit's guaranteed. That's guaranteed, right? The second kick. Not 1-3, sorry. Back 3-4. My apologies. Back 3-4. Back 3-4. Natural hit, knockdown, and leaves you at plus 19. So what you can do then is dash in with your dynamic entry like that, and then you can start pressuring the opponent. Like with that, try and go for a counter hit, or just check them in general, like that, something like that. Do you know what I mean? So this move, brilliant, very good move. And I said at tip range, it still reaches. I was a bit slow there. Sorry about that. Here we go. There you go. At tip range, it still reaches. And the best thing about this is that if I put the opponent at the wall, you can probably get a wall combo like that. Bam, 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 etc. Right? So, and I think if you're far enough away, you can do that. And then potentially you can dash in with your, there you go, bang, and then get your combo, right? So this move, as I said, back 3-4, very underrated, but is a core move in Lars's kit. Now, another move, which I want to get into, is Lars's back forward, no, forward back, sorry, forgive me all that. Forward back 2-1, which is this move. This move here. Now this move here is 14 frames, so it's a 14 frame launcher. So anytime your opponent's minus 14, you can actually use this, which is really, really good. This move, I know I'm spamming it now, but this move, honestly, just like get this into muscle memory whenever you can. You're going to be walking backwards anyway during a match, or you'll be holding back or down back, etc. And it's a very good buffer. If they whiff a button, this is a very good whiff punisher as well. Very, very good. And it has some crushing properties as well, if I remember correctly. But I'll show you an example with Death Fist. So here we go. You get a hit. You can actually use it at point blank range, like that, and then you get a full wall carry, like that. So if Paul's ever doing that in your face, you can just let him know that you can punish it. Look at that, 85 damage, because I punished correctly. And then on top of that, Paul's at the wall, and you can continue your pressure, which I talked about in previous videos, of like how to pressure people at the wall of Lars, what to do in like open situations, back one there if they mash and you get another wall splat, etc. So yeah, this move, very, very good. And yeah, at close range, it's one of the best punishers that Lars has, in my opinion. I think it's a very, very good move. Now, next we want to get into is a move that probably people have seen a lot, which is 4-1+2, which is Lars's Arc Blast, which I spoke about briefly in this video before, like doing sidestep, Arc Blast, etc. If you can catch people whiffing. But this move is also a good punishment tool.
it punishes. It's a 15 frame launcher, and it also punishes and gives you like a launcher similar to forward back 2-1 at close range. So I'll show you again, like that, bang, and you get a combo. 87, so almost 90 damage. So yeah, very good button. But again, it has to be point blank, as I said. But more time, punish Death Fist before back 2-1. And this is why specifically I said with like punishment training with Lars, make sure to go through almost like, if you can. I know it's a bit time consuming, but if you can go through every single character in the game, and even Lars himself if you're fighting against Lars players, and just take time, because I know a lot of people want to rush into it and just want to play. But if you want to see actual improvements in your playstyle and in your game plan, make sure that you are practicing your punishment and learning like what you can do for specific characters. What's your go-to punishment tool here and there? And yeah, I think this is very good. You can also use down back 2-1. Also, I wouldn't recommend using it, but you can if you're nervous. I've noticed a lot of people when they're starting out can get nervous. But this is good, leaves you +6, you can go for back 4 afterwards. But mainly, just launch it before back 2-1 if you're close enough. If you're far away, back 3-4 is your best friend. Okay? Now, another character I'm going to go into is, simple select, my apologies. So, oh wait. Simple select, and I'm going to go into a character that people see often, but they don't do anything about sometimes, is Kazuya. So with Kazuya, there's a move he has, especially at the lower ranks, that they just throw out, which is this. This move is launch. So if you block both hits, sorry, there we go. So if you block both hits, you can Arc Blast them straight away. Bang, Arc Blast. Like that. Okay, so there's a lot of moves in the game that through punishment training will help you improve your game plan overall, and also just make you a better player by not letting a lot of these players get away with just freebies, if you know what I mean, because they don't think you know that what they're doing isn't real, so they just get away with it. Now, another move I've seen Kazuya players do, which is they will start to spam down forward 2. Now this move, the reason why they do it is because on counter hit, they get a combo and then etc, right? So they're constantly looking for that quick down forward 2, etc. This move on block is not safe. It's actually punishable. So look. So you can start off punishing it with jabs, right? But what I'd recommend is using forward 2-4, which is your 12 frame launcher. 12 frame punishment, sorry. Like this. This move is amazing because it knocks down, you can dash back in and then restart your pressure. Bang, +6, and then you can go from there. So there's so much you can do, right? With just from punching with this, bang, bang, and then they'd have to be on the back foot and guess what you're gonna do next. So this move is really good. Another thing I want to add to this is that at the wall, look what it does. Wall splat. And then that's 64 damage. 76. So there's so much you can do with this. There's so much potential. There's literally so much potential that you can do off of that one move alone. It's really good. The fact that it wall splats as well, honestly, is insane. And it allows you to create like open situations like this. So I'll show you one. So that's one. Go again. Okay, that one's a bit harder to learn. Okay. There we go. Alright. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my days. Do it again. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. And you can, when you do that flip back there, then when they're getting up, you can go for a lot of things. So I'll show you again. It's a bit tricky to do on Kazuya because of his hitbox. So some characters this doesn't work on, but you have to adjust the combo, and then you can go from there. Usually what you could do is, what I normally do is this, because you can always go for the typical shoulder ender, but what I normally do if I want to like continue pressure, you can, for Kazuya specifically, do that and then bang, 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 bang. Obviously it's theory fighting to some extent, but it does work. I've landed it multiple times. There you go, bam, +3, they're mashing, they get, etc. Okay, so that's very, very good. Now, next thing I want to talk about is his while standing 2. And I'm not going to go through every character in the game, don't worry. This is just so that everyone can have like a better understanding of what I mean when I say Lars' punishment is amazing, amazing. It's one of the best things about him. You don't have to play risky to be a good Lars player. That's just what I want to get out there. It works for some people, and it can be consistent up until a certain like pedigree of like players when you start encountering them. But I feel like the more solid you are with Lars in terms of your defense and your punishment, you will start seeing like a great like deal of improvement in yourself, and also who you're able to compete with at a larger scale. So another move is while standing 2 from Kazuya. So what I would suggest you do is literally just block the move if you're learning for the first time. Block it. And that is -18. So that's launch. That's launch. You can use any launcher. You can use any launcher you want on block when you've got that. The only problem is differentiating the down forward 2 from the while standing 2, which may be a bit more difficult to new players. But once you start practicing that, you'll be good to go. And the last thing I want to show you guys is Heihachi. So this is just an overall kind of just like glimpse at how you can work on improving as a player, learning how to do these type of things, which will take you from literally, even if you're green rank or Caillou or whatever, can take you literally to orange ranks or red ranks just off of a little bit of knowledge. So here's a typical move you'll see Heihachi do. Here's this, that, right? Now people just do that and then they're like, oh no, he's done 4-4, you have to block it, right? Obviously you have to block it, but punish. See? These moves that people are getting away with, obviously they can space it well. There's spacing involved, like that. So that whiffed, didn't work, too far out. But as I said, there's things you can do in the meantime when you're close range to kind of help you if you can't reach. Like that, that's good enough. Like that. So this move's -16. The back 3 is 17 frames, so this won't count as a punish. So typically you want to be close range if you can, and then catch him with the forward back 2-1, like that. Because that won't count as a punish. But you can, as I said, do down back 2-1. If you think you're not in range, the problem with throwing out this forward back 2-1, if they block that, so let me put on standing guard. If they block this move, you're -18, which means that you'll launch. He can then launch you with God Fist or whatsoever he wants to do, right? So if you're not confident that you can punish his forward 2, what I would strongly suggest you do, especially if you're just starting out, is just do down back 2-1. You're not punishable and you're safe on block. And if you do land it, you're +6, which means that it's still your turn and there's nothing really he can do about it because he's made himself minus, etc. So you know how that goes. So I'll show you again. So if you're not confident, just do this. Any damage is good, right? Any damage is good. But obviously you want to try and aim to get forward back 2-1 because these moves will whiff. Back 3-4 is not a punish for it. Only forward back 2-1 is, and then you can catch him like that. Yeah, and then you can go from there. So especially with this season, I think it's very important that when you're playing Lars, because of the wall carry buff he's got, you need to be launching people, you need to be punching them correctly at all times, and you know, you want to make sure that what you're doing is kind of like optimal. Otherwise, it kind of defeats the point of you having all of these good like tools and then not being able to use them. Do you know what I mean? So I would strongly recommend you all learn to do that. And finally, actually, finally, let me show you guys something. The final character I will show you is, where is he? It's Law. So Law's got a new move. Sorry about that. Law's got a new move where I believe he just kind of, he kicks you on the floor, right? And I'd have to find out where it is. But bear with me a moment. There it is. Down back 3+4. This move here. This move is not safe on block. Okay, so it's his new move. You're gonna see a lot of players using this to check people. It's not safe. Punish. Okay, -13. See that whiffed. That whiffed. That doesn't work. It's a punish. You can't jab it because he's in a crouching position. Low jab whiffs. Okay. So your best option for this is just shoulder punch. And now if they do this to you at the wall, right? Bang. And then you get your pressure at whatever, right? So I think if you're close enough, you might get a wall splat. Yeah, you might get a wall splat. It's a bit tricky though. But yeah, there's certain moves in the game that require you to do kind of like unorthodox punishes that you wouldn't normally do. But stuff like that, you have to literally just sit down and lab it. And what I'd recommend you do is go into punishment training, as I said before. This is just a guide of how to do it. These are all of the moves that are punishable by law, but it won't tell you what strings. And what I mean by strings is like when someone does a sequence of buttons that's just like mid, high, low, mid, high. Do you know what I mean? So it won't tell you what to duck. That you have to look in deeper. So you might have to put like YouTube guides of each individual character, or even I might now that I've said that, I've got an idea. I might make videos on that and talk about what string to duck and where to punish here and that. Do you know what I mean? And that'll help me as well as a player to improve as well, just to keep it in like my memory. But yeah, go on to this, click beginner training normal. So what's gonna happen now is the game will tell you what's punishable. Punish, Art Blast. Next move, you block the low and you get a while standing fall. Okay. So these are all of the things that is inbuilt in the game that it would tell you how to punish certain things. And you just want to get this into muscle memory. Oh my gosh, that's 2 hits. Well, you want to get into muscle memory, right? And then you can even just, this is what I do, and just start practicing your combos from that. And it's a good method and will help players from literally the beginning of the game up until you know, people that are more professional and want to compete, etc., right? And then when you're more confident and you can kind of remember things, then you want to try beginner training in hard, where it will just do a move and it won't tell you what the punish is until after it's done. Okay, so that's what I would strongly recommend you guys do. And yeah, hopefully this video has helped you guys, because I know a lot of people have been waiting for part 3, but this is just something I want to stress really greatly for a lot of you people, is just to do that, simply because even me myself, there's a lot of characters in the game. And if let me go to the roster actually, just so you guys can see what I actually mean. If you go to the roster, look how many characters there are in the game, right? And I know my camera is covering some of them, so there's a lot of characters in the game. Each character, minus Shaheen and like Claudio, I think, and maybe Geese and Akuma, have like 100 moves on average, right? And so what you want to do is just literally, I'd say day by day, pick one character. Like, oh, I'm gonna play Lars, and then I'm gonna lab how to fight Master Raven. Next day, I need to know what's punishable versus Miguel. The next week, Nino. The next week, Bob, and then go back to Master Raven and Miguel and make sure that it's stuck. Then you go to Nino and Bob again, and then you go on to, do you know what I mean? Just to kind of create a system that will help you. But yeah, hopefully this has helped you guys. And yeah, I'm planning on continuing this series. The next video I will be making, because I've done like combo guides, and I've done just like things, just the general essentials of what's plus and what situations you can put your opponents in with certain buttons. And then this has been a punishment guide, so it's just been to kind of help you guys understand what you should be doing with Lars and one of the key things with the character. But yeah, for the next videos that I'm going to be doing with Lars, I will try and do individual strings and things that I can duck and punish with certain characters, which will take me a bit more longer to do. But I'm also going to be focusing on other games that are coming out as well, such as Dragon Ball FighterZ with Baby, because I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan. So those things I want to get into as well. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Post your comments down below. Peace.